I just got hit so specifically with an insight, a realization, a message, and I'm going to do my best to get it out in words. There was a point on my channel I was posting multiple times a day, and the fire of insight and truth and revelation and wisdom was pouring through me, and posting and sharing and speaking felt natural, energizing. I mean, I feel energized and natural right now. When I was posting before, I feel like I'm in the 80s with my like fuzzy bangs right now. Don't mind my hair. Yeah, when I was posting before, I felt energized every time after I would post, and I got really deep into it, and I was consistent for a couple months, and there was a period where the lines between what my soul, intuition, God was instructing me to do, that still peaceful, alive, grounded, pure instructional voice that sometimes gets so easily washed out and is susceptible to being distracted from. I don't know why, but this bird of paradise plant just caught my eye, and I feel like there's like symbolism in that. I have never noticed that plant on that corner before, but it's just like jumped out at me. I'll have to look into that as a grackle flies overhead as well. I'm always looking for like symbols and looking for them, I don't know, but some things just jump out to me, so I just wanted to note that. I don't know if that's significant to anybody watching, but I just have to pay attention to these things and let them speak through me. But anyway, sometimes that still inner voice gets so easily washed out. And if you have tuned into my channel before, you will probably have seen that I've been posting a lot about my health and healing journey. And there was a period or a couple of periods where I was going through these waves where I didn't have the capacity on the nervous system level to function normally. I was in survival mode, detoxing literal parasites and systemic toxicity from actual lifetimes, clearing ancestral, physical, and energetic and emotional, soulful, spiritual gunk. Moment of silence for how intense and inexplicably full that whole arc is. But I was going through some of those waves, and the messages that I would receive and hear through my intuition, I would feel the same motivation to speak them into a video and post them and share them as I was hearing and feeling when I was posting more regularly, like even weeks ago or months ago. But because of the, health stuff and the confusion of it, and my own fears that developed as a kind of energetic immune response to how physically vulnerable and energetically vulnerable I felt, sometimes kept me from making videos and posting, when in hindsight's 2020, I recognize that those layers were so almost impossible to discern where they were coming from, whether it was pure and holy or rooted in fear. But in hindsight, I recognized that there was such a thin, indistinguishable film, so to speak, that was covering my natural, I would call it God-given impulse, my natural impulse to speak and to share. And gosh, I forget what I was even gonna say in this video. Okay, I remember. So yeah, what I want to talk about is this idea that as you grow in life and you evolve and you level up and you continue walking down the path that your soul is literally called to walk down, the more you do that, the more consistent, well, I shouldn't say the more, because consistency is consistency, but you can kind of accumulate consistency in terms of hours, days, weeks, months, years, you know what I mean? But it's either you're on or you're not on. You're either consistent or you're not. You know, you're either moving or you're standing still. And the more time passes while you are remaining consistent, the more obstacles arise. You know, it's crazy. I just have to point this out. It's like, I feel like my messages have become more concise because I notice that, like, the deeper I get into the core of what I'm saying, and I look at the timer on my phone on the video thing and see how few minutes have passed since I began talking in comparison to my previous videos, I'm like, wow, like, I have gone through a lot of refinement in the last couple of months. I have posted so many videos that are like 30 to 60 minutes long. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I just am noticing out loud how I am getting to the point way quicker, which means something to me. It means that I have been going through a process of refinement. And anyway, as you step out into the world to let yourself be seen more, and I know a lot of people are familiar with this, whether you're an entrepreneur or an artist or a speaker, or you have some mission in the world that is deeply purposeful to your soul. And every person who does something meaningful always encounters roadblocks and fears and like ego-based, fear-based protective mechanisms that are like subconscious programs designed to protect you from being judged, from, you know, your deepest fears. And this is exactly what I'm trying to say in this video. When you get to a certain point where you reach a level of fear or blockage that essentially cock blocks or interrupts, sorry for my language, to be explicit there, but I feel like it's the only way to emphasize what I'm trying to say in this moment. But it's like when you reach those fears that block you from living in your purpose, that is the exact moment when it becomes so difficult to discern what's God and what's my ego, what's my fear. And the place that I'm speaking from in this exact moment is my realization on the other side of being confused about whether or not that setback and that hesitation to post, to talk, to share, to tell the truth, to say what I perceive, what I sense and feel, where it's liberated. And I recognize that, oh my gosh, for months I was fighting with this invisible, subtle fear that needed to come out in me, come out of me, so that I could face it, for one, and alchemize it, for two, and recognize and just remind myself and remind anyone who needs to hear it, who has a God-given mission on this earth. The deeper you walk down your path, the more obstacles you will accumulate, the more you will see that gets in your way. And you're going to get to a point where fears deeper than you are even equipped to deal with arise. But it is through confronting them dead on and having faith anyway and pressing forward that they will die. So I want to encourage you, take the time you need to take, and sometimes it's necessary to wait and listen for that moment where it's like the clouds break and the light of heaven pours through and it's clear as day, and then that's where you need to walk towards, even if the clouds close again, and the sun and the light of heaven becomes invisible, you saw it beam down right over there, right in front of you. You saw on the map where it touched the ground, and you saw and you felt that these are divine instructions for you. Walk to this place. Sometimes an instant of revelation is all you need to reaffirm that this is your path, and that all the other stuff, all the setbacks, were nothing but extremely elaborate mechanisms to stop the flow of the divine, the flow of life from being expressed. I really, really hope this makes sense. I trust that it will for the right people. But basically, you know, whether you are in the exact same place I am, or you're a couple steps behind or a couple steps in front, I just want to give encouragement to those who know in their spirits that they have a divine mission. You have a purpose. You have qualities that are called forth by God on this earth. And you put that mission ahead of your fears, ahead of your ego. And you know that about yourself. That's your track record. No matter how many times you've been stifled, you always return to that place of integrity with the Spirit, with the Lord, with God, with your path, with your inner knowing of your soul. And if you're in a place where you're in conflict and questioning whether or not the path that you're on or the decisions that you're about to make are still in alignment with you, first of all, you're going to get the answer, because that's who you are. As long as you're listening and allowing things to come through, it's going to come through. Like I said, even if the light shines in front of you for just a split second, that's enough to remind you. Your faith is already so strong. So let that glimmer of clarity and divine instruction and encouragement and that resonance, that warmth, that inspiration, let that sliver of a second be enough to restore your faith and burn through the debris of your ego and your fears. Because again, this is gonna keep happening. You're gonna keep encountering fears. You're going to reach levels of setbacks that you aren't yet equipped to deal with. So the point here is to reconnect with God, reconnect with your soul, and recognize, remember, recall, restore, revalidate your calling and your path. It doesn't mean that the fears are going to go away, but it means that you will be equipped from henceforth to move through those blockages next time they come up. So you're going to become even more invincible, and you're going to be able to serve more freely and more consistently, which is just incredible. I really, really, really hope that this finds the right people. And I thank you for watching. Please leave a comment if this resonated with you. And I wish you love and blessings and support and clarity, and want to send you all the encouragement in the world.